I'd like to call the public hearing for the 2019 budget to order. This is a Ramsey County Budget Committee meeting of the whole. And I'll start out with just a few comments. And because we have heard these before, but it's been a while since we've been, at least a couple weeks since we've been in budget hearings. So I just want everyone to know that my colleagues and I have worked very hard to balance the community's needs for quality service delivery and the ability to pay. Ramsey County does provide many essential services to our residents, from social services to emergency management and communications, parks and recreation, libraries, public safety, law enforcement, public health, public works, and more. So we're always mindful, clearly, of the property taxes and do our best to be resourceful in identifying and successfully applying for other sources of revenue, such as federal and state funds. We are considering an overall 4.3% property tax levy increase for Ramsey County in 2019, and that is what was discussed when we began the two-year budget cycle, and that has not changed. The county board will certify the maximum levy on September 18th, meaning we can go down from there, but we can't go up from there. So today, if you'd like to give public testimony on the budget or property taxes, we're here to listen. That's what this is about. We won't be answering questions, but you may contact us after the public testimony. We have one person that's already signed up to speak. There's a sign-in sheet over there. So if you're here and you want to speak, please go over there. Janet will, raise your hand, Janet, will bring the list up to me so that we can do it, but I've got one person on here already. But I want to make sure that it's very clear what we're doing. Again, this is the public hearing on the proposed 2019 supplemental budget and property tax levy. And that hearing is now open. If you came here to speak at the public hearing and your name is not on the list already, again, please sign up by the public information table. Then I would like to state that one of the things that we want to make sure that you do is you must state your name and city of residence for the record. And testimony is limited to 3 minutes, which is up there so that you can see it very clearly. And Deshani is going to be the timekeeper, so I appreciate that because I wouldn't know how to work that particular technology. So I think that's about it as far as the preliminaries of what we need to do. And I'm sure if I miss something, one of my colleagues will tell me that. But this is the first of 2 public hearings. And it's important that we have tried to be very transparent. Everything is on our website. You can also call and get information if you don't have access to the website. You go to the libraries to get access too if you don't have it at home. And so we have been very careful about how we have moved this forward. I think it's also important to note that this is I believe it's the 19th year in a row that we have earned the AAA bond rating from both Standard & Poor's and Moody's. And I don't even know how many decades of winning the top Government Finance Officers Association awards. And that, I think, is a testament to this county board and what we try to do. Okay, so
maybe do you want to say when the next public hearing is in case people can't make it to this one? Do we have?
You know, I actually thought of that, and sorry. Do you know what the date is? I forgot. November 26th. It's in the Red Cap room at the Union Depot.
Yeah. At what time?
At 6:30. 6:30.
30 p.m.
Yes, thank you. All right, so the person that I have on the list so far is Rick Heller. Are you Rick? Okay, come over here.
Is there anyone else?
Well, I'm going by the list that I have. And
I don't want to duplicate what someone else might be doing. If I already hear it, I might not trust it. That's the only reason I want to go last.
Well, so far you're the only person on the list, so you can go ahead.
Just don't start the clock right now for a minute because I got some handouts. I'm not going to get into it until I get you the handouts, okay? If I have permission to give you the handouts.
Janet will take care of that if you just give them to her.
So
The timer will start when you start to actually give your presentation.
So how many do we need? 7?
Yes, or 8 actually.
8. I think you got 8. Okay. I got some more here for you. Hold it. She wasn't listening. Put that one there. And here. Also here. Take some of these.
Wait, Janet, he has another handout. Thank you. Okay. Please begin.
Yes, hi, everybody. My name is Rick Keller. Unofficially represent the twice exceptional Minnesota Statute 120B-15, Gifted and Talented Program Statute, and the print disabled found in the Higher Education Opportunity Act of 2008 next to the blind. You also find in that an IDEA Act of 2004. I'm coming to speak on the agenda, the Board of Ramsey County Commissioners, on September 11th. I've provided handouts. The first handout, if you can turn the overhead on. I sent this correspondence to Janet just before the meeting. Hopefully it's digital. It's much easier to use because the electronic documents are what you see on the top page there is a screenshot of using the Adobe Reader. The Adobe Reader reads out loud. You can activate read out loud. That first page, by the way, doesn't read. Your 400-page document plus document is not fully accessible based on ADA 2008 Minnesota Accessibility Law as well. This other piece, meeting four principles of digital accessibility from the Minnesota Council of Disability. It's called Minute, formerly Office for Enterprise Technology. The other side shows you disability accessibility. One thing I want to bring to your attention is that you want full transparency in government. Not only do you have to make these documents fully accessible, but you also have to have closed captioning. It's my understanding that the City of St. Paul has accessibility policy, but Amy, the president, specifically told me that because they use your platform, that the captioning is your issue. I believe captioning is important because if I got a correspondence here from Mary Hartnett, she's with the Council of Deaf Blind. She specifically put the camera on that. She talks about captioning. They slid us over the minute. They created a budget business plan that you could apply in the future. Since your current, I'm going to flip it over now, or I'm going to go to this other page. I'm going to flip this sheet over. Here it is. Under item 1, under objectives, page 75, specifically says continue to convert and amplify digital first communicational approach. So if you're going to go down that road, you need to have one more meeting than this one for transparency and accessibility because they hold hands. Last thing, if you're going to allow me to speak, because this timer does not, I can see it, but it's not appropriate for the blind. They would not have a warning when the 1-minute warning is up. You continue to use the word see. I think that's inappropriate. I think you should have a warning. If you allow me one more minute, I only got 3 seconds. If you give me, with permission from the chair, if I could have one more minute to explain, I'd appreciate it.
One more.
Okay, thank you. So if you go to socialsecurity.gov, they do not target the blind and vision impaired in their HTML webpage. They target learning disability, dyslexia, and English as a second language. And what Browse Aloud does, it highlights and reads the words out loud. So it's not that people can understand your documents, or can access them in a way that they can review them in a way more effectively, is that we're born with 5 senses. For sure, 80% of us in the world are born with to see and hear. When you marry those two together, you got Browse Aloud on socialsecurity.gov. This whole thing is not that, it's not that you can read now. Can you understand? And if you want to have self-advocacy, self-determination, motivation, engagement, how you provide that now in a digital world, or just say digital first, is consider have a browser allowed typically, if you want to target that audience, like socialsecurity.gov does. However, again, I unofficially do not represent the blind and vision impaired. Like expressed before, the last sheet I did not address, which is the darker yellow sheet from the Minnesota Council on Deaf and Hard of Hearing. They say basically captioning and facilitating benefits all students for increased literacy. Take a serious look at that, because I think when we find out that Adobe Reader reads out loud and captioning, frankly, is the same thing. Because when I can see the words and you're talking, you are actually the reader. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. And if you do respond to me in writing, I appreciate it that you respond in authentic document, letterhead, and fully accessible with the required reader that I currently access with your summary, including your major plan, which are not fully accessible, that will be functional with that in the future. And by the way, your budget does not include extension of accessibility. The mayor's budget, when I spoke 2 weeks ago, is not fully functional for accessibility. For instance, the summary only reads four words on each page on the header, and then the main document is not tagged either. So if you all want to be on the same page, get a discussion with that mayor and talk about digital first, or should I say
Mr. Heller, I've
people
given you
first.
almost twice the amount of time, and I did that because
Thank you.
most of it was not about the budget, but about accessibility to it, and it's important that we hear that message. So I do thank you. I thank you for the handouts. This is something that we will definitely be following up on.
Just for the record, screenshot with what's on here, Minnesota Statute 363A42. That is a remedy I would rather not go down.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you again for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to provide public testimony on the 2019 supplemental budget? Is there anyone else wishing to provide public testimony on the 2019 supplemental budget? Third and final call. Anyone else wishing to provide public testimony on the 2019 supplemental budget? Hearing and seeing no one, I will close this public hearing. Thank you. Absolutely, no, I don't.
Pardon me? Yeah, yes. Brian.